All right, we are going live here. Let me just make sure this is all working. Um, okay, just waiting for this to pop up. Looks like we're good. Okay, so great. Thank you guys that were waiting for us to start. This is kind of fun. This is the first time we're doing it with on CNCs here, but we got Laney and Burl with us, and we're going to do some CNC demonstrations today. Basically, if you're new to CNCs, this is going to be a great opportunity to kind of get a baseline on how things work. But if you're a CNC pro, also going to be a ton of great tips here to learn. Now, I'm going to bring Laney and Burl up so we can see them here. Spotlight. Here they are. All right, say hey, guys. Say hi, guys.
Hey, everybody.
Awesome.
Hello. Hello. How's
So,
everybody doing?
yeah,
Yep.
great. So we got Burl here on the left and Laney on the right. Burl is the owner of Digital Woodcarver, and Burl is a CNC expert. So yeah, if you guys want to talk a little bit about what we got planned today, that would be great.
Well, let's
Yep.
start off with an introduction to digital woodcarver.
Yeah. I'm Burl Tichenor and Laney Shaughnessy. And basically, I'll just be in here for just a little bit, talk about digital woodcarver. We're based out of Indiana here in the States. And Ethan, appreciate you having us on doing this little the show here, help people understand what it is. And we've had a partnership with Ethan and Stockroom now for quite a few years. You guys have sold our product, and we appreciate that and having this opportunity to do this here today. We've been in business since about 2010, and we've got some product behind us. I know Laney's going to show the software and everything, so I'll probably step out, but I appreciate you having us here. Thanks, everybody, for joining. And then at the end, when we do a Q&A session, I'll jump back in, but I'll let Laney Shaughnessy. He is phenomenal with software. He'll put on his mic so we don't get feedback, and appreciate everybody coming. And thanks, Ethan.
Well, thanks for coming, Burl, and yeah, I look forward to chatting with you a little bit later.
Outstanding. Well, Burl, I appreciate that. And as he said, we are Digital Woodcarver. We're based out of Martinsville, Indiana, in the U.S. And we've had a good relationship with Stockroom Supply for many years, and I think it's done well, and it's going to continue to do well. So again, now I can say thank you for having us on today. So Ethan, we're going to be doing some pretty cool stuff as far as talking about the Vectric software and everything, but I just want to give a little bit of a show and tell to kind of show people just different things when they think about CNC, and they might not be able to quite visualize the things that could be accomplished with a CNC machine. And so this is just a beautiful piece of walnut that has been carved to have this beautiful three-dimensional type, bear, busting through type carving from something that ornate or complex to something beautiful and simple, like wall signs that would hang on, wall art that would hang in your home or office or something, down to little beautiful little trinkets and everything. So different types of materials that we can work with. One of my favorite materials to work with, if I can snag it down here, and let me see if I can set this stuff aside, is being able to do like acrylics and plastics and composites and things.
Well, that was done on CNC as well there.
Yeah, absolutely, it was. And so that it's smooth on the front, it's actually, the design is reversed and it's carved on the back side and everything, so that it's nice to the smooth to the touch on the front and everything. But yeah, so with a CNC machine, we can carve in hardwood, softwood, plywood, melamine, MDF, plastics, acrylics, composites. We can with a diamond bit, we can etch in glass, tile, corian, marble, and granite. And with a metal bit, we can non-ferrous metals, aluminum, copper, brass, titanium, and bronze, right? So there's a wide variety of different materials that one could work with. And when it comes into the non-ferrous metals and things, that depends on the size and the regime, the strength of the machine and all. You still have a wide variety of things that you can work with. So it really, the limitations are minimal. Your imagination is just kind of what's going to be your driving force to come up with some pretty cool stuff. And I'm going to walk you through. We're going to do a little bit of a simple something. through the software and go through the entire process from concept to finished carve. And I hope you enjoy it. So,
Awesome. Now, before I think I'm gonna spotlight you, make you the main screen here in just a moment.
Sure.
But one thing I wanted to mention, if anybody has any questions at all, I will be watching the YouTube chat very carefully. So please ask questions, and even if you think you know the answer, ask the question anyway, because it will help anybody else in the audience watching. So even watching it live or after the fact, because this will be posted on YouTube when we're all done here. So yeah, I'm going to make you big here, Laney, and I'll mute myself. But when I get a question, I'll unmute and make sure that it gets asked. Thanks
Absolutely.
again.
And the Ethan, the great thing about that is I teach the design software, CAD/CAM design software process on YouTube as well. So hit me with your questions. I'll do my best to answer them and see if we can kind of clear up a lot of the mystery and unknowns for you all. So to start off with, let me just introduce the machine that's behind me. This is kind of one of our commercial line units. This is our DWC 4848. This will be the machine that we're working on today. But we have machines down from 18-inch by 24-inch. It's called our mini carver. It's a little benchtop hobby model. From there we go to 2440. From there we go to 2636, 2440, 4848, 3648 before that, and 5100. So 51 by 100 inch. So we have a large variety of different machines and different sizes depending on meeting your needs. And each one of them have different price points, of course, right? So we will be working on the 4848 because it happens to be the one that is in my immediate vicinity for today's live event. And we're going to be in the Vectric CAD/CAM design software so you can see that process. So let's start there. Now I'm going to be popping off screen and I'm going to show my Vectric screen. And we're going to go through the design process from start to finish. So let me go ahead and bring this up. And we should be able to see the design software. And you should see that I already have a little bit of a design in there. But let's talk about from the beginning. So when the software is initially opened, the very first thing that we have to do is set up our job. And when we set up our job, we're telling the software what type of carving we're doing. Are we carving on one side of our material? Are we carving on both sides of the material? Or is it like a fourth axis rotary type, like a table leg, a spindle, or a statue type thing? Are we doing a rotary job? So the software just needs to know that job type. Then we're going to specify the size of our material, as well as where we're going to set the tip of our bit in relationship to that material. That's called the Z0 position. We're going to tell the software where we're starting from. And in this case, I'm going to be starting from the middle of my piece of material on the table. And from there, we'll click OK. And now the software, this white area that you see with the leopard head on the right side, that is my 30-inch by 11 3/4 inch piece of material. We want to try to be, when we're setting up a design in CNC, we want to try to be as specific as we can with our material sizes, especially the thicknesses. I love the Vectric software because for people that are new, as well as people that are experienced and everything, Vectric has a lot of safeties and warnings. If I were to create a design or a carving, if the carving were by chance to cut through the material, the software will give me that warning. It'll say, hey, your material is this thick. It's going to require this thickness to carve. And then it'll warn me ahead of time. So the thing that we're going to do today, now I have a leopard head that I already brought in, and I want to show that process. Okay, so I'm going to actually remove that out of there. And with the software, I can import different types of images, graphics, or vectors and things. And so the image of the leopard head started out as a picture, as a graphic, a pixeled image. And we can't immediately work with the picture as it is right now. We have to create what's called vectors. And with the vectors, then we'll be able to create our toolpath. So with this, we have a tool called the Trace Bitmap tool over here. And with the Trace Bitmap tool, I'm going to specify that we are doing a black and white tracing. And what my goal is to slide my slider, my threshold slider, to where I get the best looking kind of version of my image. Now, you really can't see much of a change unless I really zoom in. And as I zoom in, you can start to see that detail decrease or increase depending on where my slider is. Now, for me, my magic number is 75. Between 50 and 75 is 50 and 75 is a really good threshold. And then from there, I'm going to let the lines, when they trace, I want a nice contour because I want nice curves and everything. So I'm going to use the default corner fit. My image is very high resolution, so I'm going to keep the noise filter down I'm going to set it to 3. And what that'll do is anything 3 pixels or less, it'll ignore. And then the bitmap fading, all that does is just fade our image in and out. So from there, once I click preview, it will trace the image. Then I'll click apply to lock it in. And then I'll click close to close the tool. Now, once that image is traced, you no longer need the actual picture visible anymore. So we have a wonderful organizer up here called our layers, and that bitmap layer can just get turned off. And now we're left with a graphic that can be scaled. You can scale it up to the side of a building. You can scale it down to the size of a stamp, and it will maintain its resolution. And in this case, I wanted the leopard on the right side of the board, so I wanted it facing the other way. So I was able to go into my mirror tool and mirror that horizontally. And then I was able to just kind of slide it into position. And so you probably, over the years, you might have heard the term WYSIWYG, or what you see is what you get, right? So when it comes to software, everything, you just unplugged me.
Now, while you're
right.
there, lady,
Ethan?
I do have one question. Sorry, what's that?
Are you still with me?
I am. Yep. Can you hear me?
Okay. Bear with me just 1 second.
Yeah. Now, while are you able to answer a question at the moment?
I am. Let me, if you can bear with me just one moment.
Sure.
We had a power glitch.
Oh, no.
So you're still looking at my Vectric software.
Yep.
So stand by 1 second and let me just get everything back. But as long as you can hear me, yes, we can switch back. Let me get the.
I just have one question in the chat here. When it's an opportune time, I'll get you to answer it. So.
Yep, outstanding. Give me just a second. Like I said, we had a power glitch, and let me just figure out where I'm. Our Zoom meeting is not responding, it says.
What's that? Sorry.
So I have lost you completely.
You can't see me at all. Is that what you're saying?
I can hear you and I can see you, but I've lost. So when that power glitch occurred, and I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, that's it's things that happen. I've lost Ethan. It says our Zoom meeting is not responding, so I'm not getting any.
Let me double check that the YouTube is working. Worst case, if you need to leave the meeting and rejoin, that wouldn't be an issue.
Okay.
I'll still be here. Now, we do have a few people watching in person, actually, too, just so you're aware.
Oh, outstanding.
Yeah, I didn't mention that to you, but I did set up a TV screen here, so we have a couple of guys in our showroom here watching in person.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Well, give me 2 seconds, Ethan. If you can kind of fill the void for a minute, I'm going to pop out and pop back in. But also, if you could just kind of keep an eye out for me to pop in.
Sure. Yeah, I'll watch the participants here and make sure I add you back in. I'll see
And
you in
for
a minute.
those of you that are watching the live event, this is the things that happen with live events, and I apologize for that, but we'll be right back to our
Yeah,
regularly scheduled program.
no problem. I'll be here for you. So I guess I'll take a moment to mention, yeah, so we're our Digital Woodcarvers Canadian supplier. So anybody in Canada, if you're interested in Digital Woodcarver, we're the ones that will help you work through the process. Now, we actually have a Digital Woodcarver here, the 2440. We've had it for quite a while now. I think, 7, 8 years maybe. I don't know exactly. But we use that nearly every day here. Where we make actually a lot of, if you're familiar with Stockholm Supply, we make a couple tools here, like the Flatmaster drum sander, the Little Ripper sawmill. So any of our plastic parts or MDF parts, we make them with our digital woodcarver, which is kind of cool as well. Oh, and that's an example of one of the simple things that we make, but that's 100% made with the digital woodcarver. So we have ours running, maybe not 8 hours a day, but probably 4 or 5 hours every day. So it's kind of cool. Okay, we got Laney back here.
I am back. Hello,
You're
everybody,
back.
and I do apologize about that, Ethan.
No problem.
As we were working in the background, somebody tripped over a cable, and
It's okay.
it disconnected our power. So we're back
All
and
good.
and everything.
I'll put you back up on the big screen here, and you can pick up right where you left off then.
Yep. Well, let's while we're here and while you're in the background, I can still hear you. Can you tell me the question that was asked?
Yes. Oh, I already forgot about that. Yeah, sorry. So Chris Neely asked, I use Easel Pro. Is the Vectric software easy to pick up and transition to? Would Desktop Pro be a good transition?
Yes. So with the Vectric software, you have 3 different levels: Vectric V-Carve Desktop, Vectric V-Carve Pro, and then Vectric Aspire. Right now you're using Easel, and so transitioning and learning the Vectric software is a very low learning curve. It is very user-friendly, very intuitive, and absolutely just phenomenal. And they've just released version 12, which is even makes things even much more better. But going to the Vectric V Pro, I believe you used the word Pro there. You would have no difficulty whatsoever, especially if you take advantage of the resources that are online. Kyle from Learn Your CNC, myself at Spindle TV, Garrett Frome from IDC Woodcraft. All of these places teach the Vectric software, and with all of that learning and resources out there, it'll be an easy transition, and it'll be absolutely. I'm red, white, and blue Vectric through and through, right? So I'm a Vectric guy to heart. I love their software above any other, and so if you ever thought about switching over, you can't go wrong, and it'll be a very easy transition for you.
Thank you, Laney. That's great. I think, and the same customer actually, he mentioned. I don't know if you saw that part that I held up that we make here. He actually has one of our 24-inch Flatmasters, so he has a part made from a digital woodcarver CNC.
Outstanding. That's right. Yes, you do make a few parts with the digital woodcarver, and I think that's awesome, Ethan, that you use that. Our commercial line units, such as the 4848 and our 5100, make our other units as well too. So digital woodcarvers are making digital woodcarvers. All right. So Ethan, if we want to, I'm spotlighted here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transition back to screen 3 where we left off and everything. If there's any other questions, Ethan will let me know. And then of course, Ethan, we're going to be doing a Q&A at the end, right?
Yeah, at the end, we'll definitely open it up for questions and answers as well.
Outstanding. So as I was saying, we have our leopard here, and we're going to be doing a V-Carve toolpath on that. But I want to add one additional item to this, and I'd like to add some text over here on the design. And so with the text tool, any font that's currently installed on my computer, I can use. But I can also go to different websites, and I can download a variety of fonts and things to use with the software. And as long as the font is installed on the computer, the software will recognize it and you can use it. So I'm going to be using a Century Schoolbook font, and I'd like to just type out a nice little something that's relating to my graphic of a leopard. So let's go ahead and we'll do and you'll notice it'll be really large on the screen, but as I add more words and stuff, it'll start to size itself. And let me change it to 15 here, and it'll size itself as I'm typing. So the speed of the leader is we don't need a capital on the speed of the team. I'm all about teamwork, right? So now I can bring this over into position and I can size it up appropriately to whatever I want. I'd like to have it, let me see if I want a little bit of bold. No, we'll keep it just like that. I think Century School Book will be a nice font, but I do want it a little bit taller. So I'm going to skew it, not skew it, but stretch it just a bit. And now that I have both objects on the board, I'm going to bump this over just a little. And what I'd like to do is I'm going to select all of that, and then I'm going to center it on the material. So I'm going to use the alignment tool, and I'm going to align it to the material, to the center. And now I'm ready for tool pathing. So when it comes to creating a tool path, both of these, both the text and the graphic, they're going to use what's called a V-bit. It's a V-shaped bit that comes in various angles, literally anything from, 1 degree to 179, right? Any of those angles. But typically with CNC, you're going to see 15, 30, 60, 90, 120. Those are your typical angles that you would commonly use. I will be using a 60-degree V-bit for this project, and both the leopard head and the text will be carved with that single bit. If I had multiple bits, then I would just use the one bit first, carve whatever part of the design needs carved with that bit, and then when it completes, then I would change to my second bit and make that carving. But all of this is going to be done with one bit. So we're going to, because even though it's done with one bit, I want to create two separate toolpaths. And the reason being is Ethan and I, as we were talking earlier today, I went ahead and carved the leopard's head in my material, and I just need to carve the text. So, but I'm still going to calculate the toolpath for both so you can see that process. I just kind of got a little bit of a jump on this live event with the carving of the leopard head. It took about 15 minutes to carve that leopard's head. So let's go in and let's look at the process for creating the toolpath. So we're going to use what's called a V-carve toolpath. And I'm going to start at 0. Now 0 is the top of my board, right? I want to start at the top. I am going to be using a 60-degree V-bit. And if I were to calculate this toolpath, if I were to cut through my material, my software would warn me. Now I'm not cutting through the material, but I am getting a warning that there are overlaps in my design. That means that 2 or more lines are overlapping each other. So I can either click continue to continue with the calculation process, or I can go to the vector validator, which will search and look for potential issues. Now I know where the issues are already, but the software will actually point them out to me. And what we're seeing is we have some overlaps on these little figure eights. Now these square vectors, those are trash. And so with the vectors here, I can select this and I can ungroup that. And then I can select those items and just hit delete on my keyboard. I do not need, and I can delete that as well. I do not need to recreate, but if I did, I could. But for this process, it doesn't need to be done. So now I can once again search that, and we'll see that we have no additional errors or issues or intersections, and we can continue with that calculation. So I'm going to come back over to the right side over here and calculate that toolpath. And the amazing thing about the software is that in the software, I can preview my carving before I actually go over and carve it on the material. So the preview, if the resolution is set high enough, is about a 98% representation of what the carving will look like. In this particular carving, right around the lower part of the neck area here, let me spin this down so you can see. This is going to be the deepest part of the carving. And if I hover my mouse over there, I am cutting about a half inch deep, 0.52 inches deep here. And if I wanted to limit that cut, I can do what's called a flat depth, limit the cut. And in the toolpath, it's just as simple as opening it back up, setting flat depth. In this case, I'll just say I'll go 0.25, and then I can go down and recalculate that. And what it will do is it will limit the cut, or all the cuts, it will limit them to 1/4 of an inch. And so all these heavy blue areas are going to get limited to 1/4 of an inch deep. I can reset the preview and preview that visible toolpath again so I can see that carving. And the software is amazing because with the preview, if I was going to paint my sign, I can kind of get an idea visually of what it would look like if I was going to paint it, and different things, and I can kind of just get that look. And I can actually save this image and send it to a customer if it was a project that was a commission project, and I could send it to the customer and say, hey, sir or ma'am, here's your sign. If you want to make any changes, tell me now, and we can make them before I actually carve in the piece of wood. All right, so the leopard looks great. Let's go ahead and now finish this up. I'm sure Ethan is biting at the bit in the background to have me answer some more questions. So the speed of the leader is the speed of the team, and I am going to V-carve that as well. This time, no flat depth. It's going to carve shallow enough as it is already. And I'm going to use that same 60-degree V-bit, and I'm going to hit calculate. And once again, we can come over to take a look at this, and I'll zoom out a little bit and preview that toolpath. Wonderful. Now that and let's turn the color off just so we can see the carving in its natural. And I can change the material, and I happen to be carving in, Ethan, you would call Canadian maple just maple, right? Up there, yep. So I'm not carving in maple, I'm carving in MDF. And that's what my sign will look like and everything. And so we can get that kind of realistic look depending on the material that we're carving in. Now, again, the software doesn't care what material we're carving in. This is for preview purposes only. All right, let's go ahead and close this. And now the most important part is saving our design and saving an already file name for this one. So I'm just going to go to File, Save. And then I'm going to go over to the 2 toolpaths that I've created. And I'm going to save them as well. And so we are going to come here, and I will call this live file and hit save. And when I've saved this, I've got it saving as 2 separate files because, again, like I said, I've already carved the leopard head. So if I go back and look at that, you should see I have 2 live files here that I named live file. One for the V-carve of the leopard head, and the second one is the V-carve of the text. And I could, of course, give it a custom name if I want to and all that stuff. So that is the design process, right? We've come up with a concept. We've put in our size of our material. We brought in an image, and we let the software trace that image for us. And then we added some text for some, just to kind of round it off. And of course, we could go even further with this, right? Like I said, you're only limited by your imagination. And but we've taken it with just the text and the graphic, and we've created those 2 toolpaths. And now, once they're saved, now they're ready to transition over to our controller software. So our controller software is Planet CNC TNG, the next generation. And Ethan, before we get into the software, let's see if I can come back here. Do we have any questions up to this point that we want to maybe tap on before we do the run?
At this moment, there's no new questions in the chat, but you're doing such a clear job of explaining things. Everything makes a lot of sense. I'm learning so much, Laney. I've used our CNC for like 7 years now, however long it's been, and you just showed me a number of things I didn't know.
Well, outstanding. I appreciate that. Well, when we get in here, and I've got Burl off to the side, so when we get time for when we do have any questions, and ladies and gentlemen, don't be afraid to ask questions, right? You know, you don't know what you don't ask, right? So ask any question, doesn't matter, and I'm happy to answer. And okay, yep. And Ethan, if you don't mind, Burl has re-invited himself to the chat. If you could just give him acceptance, and then he'll be able to come back in later. All right. So let me switch back to our screen, my screen here. And this is Planet CNC TNG. This is the motion controller software that runs our design's toolpath. So that Carve toolpath that we did for the leopard head and for the text, when we saved that file, those files, should I say, that created what's called a G code. And in the G code, this is the text part of it here. Over on the right side of the software, you see a series of coordinates, X, Y, and Z. And on the machine, your axis and everything here, and Burl, you're on, if you could mute your, okay. The CNC machine here, when the router's spindle or router is moving up and down, that's our Z-axis. Typically, wherever the operator stands, some people's machines, they stand at the front, some people's machines, they stand at the side, but wherever the operator is standing, your X-axis always travels from the left to the right of the operator, and the Y-axis always travels to and from the operator. And so in this particular machine, the operator stands at the front, he or she loads from the front, and the Y-axis is to and from the operator. Y minus, closest to the operator, Y positive away. X minus to the left of the operator, X positive to the right of the operator, right? And so in the controller software, you will see a series of X, Y, and Z coordinates. And that's basically the controller software telling the machine where it's got to go to carve your particular design. It's called a toolpath. It's called G code. All right, so in this case, we have we're going to watch the carving. We're going to see the carving happen. It's about a 5-minute run for the text to be carved, and we'll show over to the computer. But what we need to do is we need to zero out our machine. In the case of this, my project is starting in the center of my material. And so once the rabbit is positioned at the center, then I will zero out the X and the Y position. And then when that is set, I will then bring the bit down to a touch plate or a sensor, and I will set the Z0 position. Now, this machine, all of the axes have already been set, and we have a tool changer on the 4848. So what you're going to see in just a few minutes is it's actually going to go pick up the tool and measure the tool height itself, and then it's going to come over and do the text carving. So with this, once I've zeroed out X, Y, and Z, I would simply hit start, and everything would just start carving and everything. And what you're seeing on the screen right now for our live event here is a simulation. I'm going to go ahead and stop the simulation, and I'm going to switch over to our actual machine, and I'm simply going to hit the start button, and it's going to go pick up the first tool. Now, Ethan, while it's picking that tool and everything, it's gonna be about a 5-minute run so everybody can see, and hopefully you'll still be able to hear me and everything. Let me know if you're not able to, okay? So the process you see happening right now is it's just picked up our V bit that we're using, and now it's testing and touching the height it's setting the tip of the bit in relationship to the machine's bed and the table. Now, not all CNC machines have automatic tool changers. This is our commercial line 4848, but we are the tool changers, the operators. So we would put our bit in our router or our spindle, and we would come and touch off and set the Z ourselves before we hit start. So now the spindle is just started, and it's going to go in and start carving, and I'll zoom the camera in to get a little bit of a close-up once it starts carving.
Great. Now this machine, yeah, like you just mentioned, this is a little more than what the average guy would have in his home workshop, but the actual process is the same regardless of the size of the machine. That's right?
That is 100% correct.
Now we do have a question from Ronnie Probert, maybe more of a suggestion than a question, but Ronnie asked, Laney, would there be any chance that you and Burl would come up to Ethan's store and do a group owner's workshop? Just a thought. That's something we can certainly discuss in the future, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ronnie Probert owns a digital wood carver and CNC machine, and so what Ronnie is asking about is if we could ever do an owners meeting up in at the stockroom supply store, and that's always a possibility. It's something that Katie and Ethan and Cheryl and Burl and I, we can all discuss and figure out the logistics on. But anything's possible.
Yeah,
now,
maybe we can have you come up
this.
to a. Sorry, go ahead there, Laney.
No, I'm sorry, Ethan. I didn't mean to step on your toes. What I was going to say is I have this unit does have dust collection. And everything, but I have it taken off so everybody can see the card, right? We're woodworkers. We love a little bit of sawdust. When it's finished carving and everything, I'll suck that sawdust off so you can actually see the results, and I think we'll be enjoy that very much. And I'm sorry, Ethan. That's all I wanted to say on that part.
Yeah, no problem. And what I was going to mention is maybe we'll have you or Burl come up to a wood show, and we could arrange a owners meeting maybe right at the wood show or something.
Oh, hey, that could be absolutely a possibility because you have the Canada Woodworking shows. There's 2 of them each year, right?
There used to be. Things have changed kind of post-COVID.
Okay.
Right now, there's just one main wood show per year. So.
Outstanding, yeah. So we could absolutely talk about that, and for sure. Now, as the process is running along, and I'm going to switch over to the simulation screen for just a second so you can see a little bit of the process. Give me just a second to make that switch. When the software is running, like the carving that's happening right now behind us, on the screen, there's a little yellow dot that represents the router bit. So the user can see what is actually getting carved. And as the area gets completed, it turns green in this particular screen. Now, of course, you can set any color you want, but in this case, I have it set to kind of a green color. And when that way I know what is completed and what's not. And, things can go wonderfully sometimes, and sometimes things can go wrong, right? So we're all at the mercy of Mother Nature and stuff. So let's say right now if the power went out in the middle of the run, I am able to see where the machine stopped, and I would just need to reset my X, Y, and Z, and I could go down and find that line of G code where it stopped, and I can start right back from that position to continue on. If in the event something unforeseen, things like that, and so the software, Planet CNC TNG, makes it very easy to continue where you left off in the event of something like that. And so both the Vectric software and the Planet CNC software is very user-friendly, very intuitive, and it is, if you can get a couple of projects under your belt, make a little bit of sawdust, then it's kind of rinse and repeat on a lot of the steps. The only thing that really changes is the design, or the tool path or something like that. And so what you're seeing on the screen is the simulation of the carve happening. And then, of course, in real time on the machine, you're seeing, what it is carving and all. Ethan, is the visual okay on that? Am I zoomed in a little too close, or is that good? I believe that would be good. All right. Okay, good. What I want to do is I'm going to mute my microphone, and I'm going to kind of clean up so they can see a little bit of that carving.
Sorry about that, Lane. You asked me a question. I missed it though.
Basically, ask if he could clean up the area, so he just muted it there. He also asked if it looked good and the video is looking good on it.
Oh yeah, video is looking really good, and we can hear you guys just fine. So yeah, keep it up. No, I guess I have a question here. Just in comparison to like one of your smaller CNCs, how much faster is this big industrial unit carving compared to like the 2440 or the 1824?
Sure. So actually, it's carving at right now the same speed that a 2440 would run. I'm running at 75 inches a minute for the V carve. We typically on the 1824 and the 2440, I have it run a V carve 35 inches a minute for nice clean cuts and everything. But it can run, 75 inches a minute and still achieve clean cuts, of course. And so even though this CNC machine, to answer your question, can run from 0 to 300 inches a minute, Ethan, with rapid rates of 500 inches a minute, I am running the tool path at 75, which for the material, for the bit and everything, it's going to produce a very nice clean cut that requires minimal finishing, as far as cleanup and stuff. So 75 inches a minute. And but typically on the 2440 and the 1824, you're running 35 inches a minute. So we're almost double the speed in that sense, if that answers your question. And the when it comes to the speeds and feeds, really, it's gonna. I mean, these commercial machines can go, faster and all, but the bits, smaller bits with smaller gullets and flutes, they are only spinning a certain speed and they're only traveling a certain speed. And
I think I lost your audio there, Laney, but are you still there?
I got you here.
Or I heard Burl for a moment there, but no Laney right now.
right, I'm so sorry. At Ethan.
You are back. I can hear you clearly now. Yep.
Yes, I'm sorry. Where did I lose you at? Where did we cut off?
You were just mentioning how almost sounded like you're limited a bit by the bit, the size of the bit, as far as your feed rates go.
Yes, and so the if I'm working with an 1/8 inch bit, 2 flute, the gullets, the flutes themselves, there's gullets in the middle. We have to have a certain chip load, so those bits have to spin at a certain speed. And what you're going to see here in just a second is in this particular machine, it's going to go ahead and return that tool. It's completed its job. I could be there's a lot of similarities between the 2440, the 1824, and the commercial units, but of course we can go deeper, faster, and things with our bigger units because of the rigidity and the build of them and everything. So that was just a long-winded answer to your question, Ethan.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
But we were traveling, just so you know, we were traveling about twice the speed, 2 plus the speed of what you would have carved at on the 2440. But the 2440 is capable of going 75 inches a minute, of course.
So
all
if
right,
that took 5 minutes, the 2440 would take about 10 minutes.
Absolutely, yeah. So exactly, and yeah, sure. Yes, and so what Burl's saying in the background, a lot of it has to do with the ramp, the acceleration and the deceleration, right? So it's not going full speed during the carve because it has to slow down to turn the corners and the curves and everything and the letters. So it's just like a car going from 0 to 60 miles an hour on a straightaway, but it decelerates going into a corner, accelerates out of the corner, right? So it's just like when you're driving, and the CNC does the same thing. So that acceleration and deceleration on those turns and arcs and that.
Right.
It's never really running full speed unless it has that, distance to be able to get up to speed.
Right. And probably, maybe I'm wrong, but the more robust the machine, the faster the ramp and ramp down could be.
Right. And so what Burl added to that is this, it wasn't double the speed. So, because it never really got up to speed and stuff.
Sure.
All right. So the process, if we were to, if Ethan, if you want to come back on with us, I'm going to clean this up and then I can show that result, show that finished result and everything. And I'm going to mute me for just a second.
Well, that's really good. Now, you're vacuuming that off, and I noticed you were, it looked like a really clean cut. Is there much to do with feed rates that if you go faster, is it cut cleaner, or if you go slower, does it cut cleaner? Is there anything to do with that they have to pay attention to, or is it dependent on material as well?
It is going to be dependent on your material, but also like your hardwoods, right? Hardwoods are gonna carve very clean and crisp versus your softwoods that might have little fuzzies and frays and stuff. And then of course, plywoods versus solid wood type of things. But the carving in itself, let's see if I can switch over to the other camera. And of course, let me zoom out just a tad bit here. Okay. So what you can see, Ethan, is right off of the CNC. And then
that's beautiful.
This is what Ethan and I carved, while we were talking before the live event, just to get out of the way. And again, the leopard head was about 15 minutes, and then we had about 5 minutes on the text. Now, of course, this by all means is just a very basic sign on of MDF. I could have added a border to really give it some decorative touch. I could add some color to it to make it really pop and everything. But for a little bit of show and tell, not bad at all. To give you a little bit of a visual of what something might look like with a finish on it. So here is a sign. This is just a maple wood, and this sign here has been. Yep, there you go. Canadian though. And it's already been painted and carved, and then to really take it to an extreme, either we can make noise like that, but we also do things carvings with adding a little bit of epoxy, right? Instead of paint and everything. So this is kind of a mocked up guitar body because you can make guitars with a CNC. And this is actually an epoxy fill and on there and all. So very cool stuff for sure.
Yeah. And, we do have a question on
yes.
The more of a hardware question. And maybe we can, there was a question of what are the power requirements for the 4848. Now, maybe we can talk about the power requirements of All the
All of
machines.
them.
Yeah.
So our mini carver and our 2440 are single phase 110 or 115 volt systems. Just a 15 or 20 amp breaker. Our 2636, our 3648, our 4848, and our 5100. Those are our heavy duty line, our commercial line, and those are single phase 240 volt systems, 240 volt systems. And they just require, a 2-pole 20 amp breaker, typically. And that would be it for the power requirements and all.
Great. Now,
And
sorry, go ahead.
Burl, you want to come back on? So Burl's here to help with any questions that I stumble on or anything like that. And
Doing fine.
yeah, okay, great. Burl's. I came on board with Digital Woodcarver. Oh God, we're going on 9 years now, I believe, or something like that. And but he's still the guru for me. So what was the other question, Ethan?
Another question. Is the smaller DWC 1824, so that's the mini CNC, base made from a type of starboard, or is it MDF?
No, it's definitely not MDF. It is a type of polyethylene. It's an HDPE polyethylene plastic, or is it MW?
It's a
Molecular.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So HDPE or an HDM, high density molecular
High density polyethylene.
weight. Yeah. So
Now, I'm not
it
sure
is a
if he
polyethylene
means,
plastic.
he says the base, so I'm not sure if that means the structure or the table. I'm assuming the overall structure of it.
Right. The table is a high impact melamine coated table with integrated aluminum T-tracks. So that is the table itself as far as that is concerned. But the body frame construction of the mini carver, that's our little benchtop hobby model. It's an HDPE plastic, and then of course it's got lead screws on X, Y, and Z with their stepper motors, and then stainless steel drive rods and linear bearings and everything for the drive system on that.
Now, could you just explain? This isn't a question, but this is all kind of related. Just talk about the capacities of each machine and like what they can handle, like as far as the spindles and things like that go, as well as the size.
Sure. So the mini carver, our 1824 mini carver, comes standard with an 1.25 inch Makita palm router. And again, it's a 110 volt system. It has an 1.25 horsepower palm router. Thank you, sir. It's a 110 volt system, and for that, so it just requires like a 15 or 20 amp breaker in your home or shop. The mini carver has a table length of 30 inches and a table width of 24, and of that 30 by 24, you have a cutting area of 24 by 18. So 24 along the x-axis, 18 inches along the y-axis, and the z-axis has a 4-inch z-axis clearance. So that's our 1824 model. The 2440, actually, our model numbers are named after their cutting area. The 2440 has a 24-inch by 40-inch cutting area. It has a 5-inch travel on the Z, and it comes standard with a Bosch 1617 2.25 horsepower router. And then, of course, with the 2440, we have water-cooled spindle options as well, too. We have a 110 volt 1.5 kW water-cooled spindle and a 220 volt 2.2 kW water-cooled spindle. So it's an equivalent to about a 2.4 horsepower versus a 3 horsepower water-cooled spindle. And the 2440 has those upgrade options, but it does come standard with that Bosch 1617. Now, when we get into the commercial line units, our heavy-duty line, the 2636 and the 3648, those are 2.2 kW water-cooled spindles. And again, the cutting area, 2636, so 26 inches by 36 inches, and then 36 by 48. Now, both of those have about a 7-inch Z travel on them, and for your clearance and everything. And we just introduced those this year, January of this year. Or not January, was it January? Yeah, January of this year. For the shows, the woodworking shows. We just introduced them, and they're very popular. They're doing very well. We're blessed with that. And on our website under Shop CNCs. You'll see them kind of at the top of the page if anyone's interested in looking at those. From there, we have the model that's right behind me, which is our 4848. Now, this has a 48-inch by 48-inch cutting area. Now, the 4848 and our 4x8, our 5100, they come with integrated T-tracks as well as vac cables. So they're plumbed for vacuum. They don't include a vacuum pump, but we do, just like we partner with Stockroom Supply, we have a partner, Black Box Vacuums, Black Box Vac. So a vacuum system for vacuum clamping could get bundled in with the 4848 and the 5100. But technically, it could get bundled in with any of our heavy duty line and things. So that's the last thing I'll say about the 4848 and the 5100. Burl, and correct me, are those also 2.2 or are they 3.3? 3.2. Yeah, 3.2 kW water cooled spindles. So it's an equivalent of about 5 horsepower for our 4848 model and our 5100, which is 51-inch by 100-inch cutting area and everything, which I don't have one of those in the shop right here behind me. So, Ethan, that is our line, and that's kind of the routers or spindles that they're equipped with.
That's awesome. Now, other thing it'd be cool for you guys to talk about a little bit too is your manufacturing. I know you guys make a lot of digital wood carvers right in house.
Yes.
Can you talk about like what you make and how you make them? I think that'd be pretty fascinating.
Yeah, if I can get Burl, do you have your phone with you? I'm gonna let Burl speak on this a little bit.
Sorry, we both have our mic on. Get feedback on this side, so I got the mic now. So yes, here in the States, we build the 18 and 2440s. The 2440 was our very first unit, and that's been our main unit even up to this day. We sell a lot more of those than any of the other models. And then we introduced the 18 by 24 model, which both of those, pretty well everything that we can make. Obviously, there's things that we don't. We don't make stepper motors and bearings and stuff like that. We purchase those, but we make that all in-house. And we have a full line of manufacturings, everything from machine centers, turning centers to, bandsaw, metal cutting bandsaws, welding, powder coat, full-size lasers, 4,000 watt. Right beside us, in a room right beside us, is a 4,000 watt laser that we can cut up to 3/8 steel. Now, our commercial lines, we do buy the bases and we put our controls on them. So we do not manufacture this 48 by 48. We don't physically manufacture the base, but it is our full controls on it. That way, as you upgrade or even head into the the commercial line, even from the beginning, how you design, how you control is all the same. That's why we can do a demo like this, and what it would take to learn to do a 1824, you can do on the commercial or big lines. It's a matter of speeds and things like that. And as you grow up, obviously capacity too on those different sizes. Right. We do. I'll just tell a little bit about. We do manufacture some other products for other companies as a just diversifying a little bit when it comes to this. Our target is high-end hobbyists to low-end business. And in that arena, we find a little bit in seasonal. Everybody likes to be in their woodworking shop during the winter. Of course, you guys' winters up in Canada are probably a little longer than ours. So we got a little seasonal. So we do fill in some of our manufacturer capacity with some other products that they sell. We don't sell or anything. CNC digital wood carver is our main line that we sell and produce. Yes. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. Now, you also mentioned lasers. Are you guys still selling lasers as well? Or I know at one point you were quite a bit, but.
Yeah, let's talk about our lasers. And Ethan, if we get close on time, I know we're getting on an hour, so you just stop us whenever. We actually have quite a few different laser options. We have a small laser that will fit on any of our machines, anywhere from our 1824 clear up to our commercial. And then we have it's a diode laser, little 6-watt laser that will fit on there. We also offer a 15 watt in that same diode laser configuration, where you'd simply mount that laser head onto or beside the spindle, and then you would do the same controls as what we have on the other. Those are two options if you want to do both. When it comes to that, obviously a 6-watt laser is very limited in what it can do. I call it a wood burner. But we do sell 60 and 90 watts. We don't advertise it a lot. That's a product that we basically resell. We purchase in and resell it. We don't manufacture that product or our controls. So we sell a little bit of that. It's a good product, good solid product. We use it in our manufacturing every day, or whether they run it every day, but we use it in our manufacturing. I know you still use your son.
I have a 50-watt laser. I have the 6-watt laser that mounts to my DWC 2440, and then I also have the 6-watt.
Yep.
Or I'm sorry, the 50-watt.
Yeah, CO2. Can you hear Laney okay when he's talking?
Yep, I can. He's a little quieter than you, but certainly can still hear them. So it's pretty neat, though. Yeah, with the diode lasers. So if you already, now maybe I'm wrong here, but if you have a other brand CNC, could you use a digital woodcarver diode laser on it, or that's not so easy?
Well, obviously mountain would be on your, we don't know how the machine's configured. The biggest part is the control signal. Obviously, we know how our control boards, we can put out a 5-volt, 0 to 5 volts, and we can control even those diode lasers. You know how you see some lasers that will go from, get your shading 0 to full power on one. Our boards are capable of doing that. So we will have no idea how, outputs and what control other people would have with theirs. So if they understand that, we'd be glad to sell them a laser, but we would not be able to help them on that. We could tell them what wires to hook up to it, but we don't understand, their controller and what feedback.
Gotcha.
So it would work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Laney, could you talk a little bit about the training that you offer for owners of CNCs?
Yeah, so digital woodcarver, the one thing that really stands us out in the crowd of the CNCs that are on the market is our support and training. We really pride ourselves, and before I get into that, let me apologize to you all. I'm looking at Ethan and communicating to the computer screen, but you all are up here at the camera. So if you see me looking down and not making eye contact with you, that's because I'm looking at the screen instead of the camera. So I'll try not to do that again. But with digital woodcarver, we pride ourselves in our support and training. So every digital woodcarver customer when they purchase their new CNC, they get a 2-hour orientation training that walks them through how to use the software as well as how to use the CNC to create a carving. Once they go through that initial getting started kind of orientation, from there, 24 hours a day, Monday through Saturday, they can call or text message or email or reach us through our Facebook Messenger on our website and for support if they need help with anything. Now, aside from that support and stuff, we have training classes and trainings that we offer, one-on-one training, and it's done remotely. So a customer or even a non-customer through Spindle TV, that's not a digital woodcarver offer. It's a Spindle TV thing, but someone with the Vectric software, there's by the hour training, there's monthly subscription, or there's an annual subscription, and that gives them the monthly subscription gives them an hour of one-on-one time a month. We are connected, the computers are connected, and their machines can get operated remotely as I walk them through the software and things like that. And so a lot of our digital woodcarver customers take advantage of that one-on-one training. And then for free to the public on Spindle TV, our YouTube channel, I stream live design classes every other Tuesday evening at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And we're just covering the Vectric software, right? How to create this and how to create that, and also wonderful, amazing tips and tricks in there and all. So we do that live every other Tuesday night, but those videos are recorded. They're on the channel under the live section of the YouTube channel, Spindle TV. There's over 250 plus classes that someone could go and watch. So there's an abundance of training and everything. And we pride ourselves on having such a robust training package. And then, of course, we have a very, if our customers have Facebook accounts, we have a private Facebook group called the Digital Woodcarver Owners Group, where they can have access to all the owners, where they help answer each other's questions. They share files with one another. They share project images with one another to get inspiration and stuff. And then we also host a non-owners group for the public on Facebook. It's called CNC and Vectric group. And you'll have to forgive me, I don't monitor that group as closely as I do our Digital Woodcarver Owner group, so I don't know the exact name of it. But go to the Digital Woodcarver Facebook page, and there'll be a link to it there. All right, Ethan, hopefully that helped answer that question.
Yeah, that's really good. Now, I had somebody that's here. They just wanted asking about software. If you could touch a little bit on that, and yeah.
Sure. So the software that I was working on when creating the design, this is the Aspire software. Now, of course, there's 3 levels when it comes to Vectric: Vectric VCarve Desktop, Vectric VCarve Pro, and Vectric Aspire. Just to recap on what those 3 are. So the desktop is your entry-level, smaller machine software. So it has size limitations of 25-inch by 25 inches. Anything beyond that has to be tiled. You can still carve larger designs, but you have to tile the design. And so the desktop software is a perfect companion software to those smaller tabletop type CNCs. And then from there, as your CNC gets larger, so does your work capacity requirements. So you step up from desktop to VCarve Pro. VCarve Pro is versatile. It has no size limit, and it can be used with any CNC machine, plasma cutter, laser engraver, it's a great software for that. Now, within the software, one could import 3-dimensional models to carve, like that bear that you saw today or earlier today. That bear that I showed, and I'll show it again here. So this is what we call a 3-dimensional carving, but it's actually 2.5D because it's flat. If it was completely round, it would be 3D. But this type of 3-dimensional carving, we can carve in Desktop Pro or Aspire. We can carve these type of files and import them in and carve them. But the Vectric Aspire software, why one would have the Vectric Aspire software, it gives them all the tools and features of Desktop and Pro, but it gives them more additional 3D modeling and sculpting tools to where they could actually build 3D models from scratch. So they could import a photo, they could just, from their own line drawings or something, they could extrude these vectors into 3-dimensional designs and their sculpting tools and things. So the Vectric Aspire, it's kind of a it's the top of the line of the Vectric line, and it gives you the ability to all bring in images and carve, bring in images and create 3D models, from scratch, and that kind of thing. So depending on someone's needs, they've got a software package for whatever fits their needs. And the great thing about the Vectric software is Desktop Pro and Aspire, the user interface is identical. So as someone upgrades from one to the other, there's not any like relearning process where you have to relearn a whole new software. And that's what I love about the Digital Woodcarver line. All of our CNC machines, from the Mini Carver to the 5100, use the same controller software and the same controls. So again, if someone is growing and their machines are getting larger and larger, they're not having to relearn new software again. So it makes the transition much easier. And Vectric's done the same thing. And Vectric's also done a phenomenal job with their upgrade procedures, as far as if I have desktop and I want to upgrade to Pro, I only pay the price difference between those two, which in this case is about $350 US. I don't have to rebuy the full amount of the VCarve Pro software. If I've already owned desktop, I just pay the price difference to move up. And the same thing for Aspire as well. So it allows a user to be able to grow as their needs require.
Well, that's great. Now, I guess what I didn't realize I'm not Spotlight. I should spotlight myself here as well. There we go. Hi, guys. So I should mention that if anybody's interested in the CNC and you're in the States, make sure you go to digitalwoodcarver.com. They got tons of information on there on all their models. Now, if you're Canadian, we do have not their full line listed on our website, but you can go to our website, stockroomsupply.com, and we got them listed there. And obviously, you can either email us here at Stockroom or Digital Woodcarver if you do have other questions. Let's check the. If there's any other questions, though, now's a great time to ask. Laney, go ahead there. You're going to mention something.
No, Ethan, I just want to let someone know on your website, like you said, you don't have the full line, but if someone was interested in one of our other machines, they could absolutely reach out to info@stockroomsupply.com, and they could always inquire with you. And of course, you can give them, whatever pricing, is needed and all. Now, one of the things, Ethan, let me just say this, because I want to give our UK vendor some love and all too. We do have another CNC machine that we provide, that we sell, and it's the Smart Bench Precision Pro CNC by Yeti Tool, and that is a large format 4x8 CNC at a kind of an affordable price. It's $10,425 US, not including shipping and everything. But for anyone that is in Canada, that's that might be looking, I know there's different vendors and stuff, so we just handle the US. I believe Yeti Tool has a Canadian vendor as well, so they wouldn't go through us. But for anyone that's watching that's in the US, we do carry that item as well. It's called the Smart Bench Precision Pro Plus. So shout out to Yeti Tool.
Yeah, very cool. Now, that's kind of a very unique design because it doesn't have a table per se. It almost rides on the plywood itself. Is that right? Or
no, it has a table. It has a bench style table, and the platform is portable. You can break it down in about 3 minutes, transport it to a job site, and put it back up. And then, of course, your waste board would be, like a typical 4x8 sheet because it can handle that capacity. But without the waste board on, without a full 4x8 sheet waste board MDF, then the table is probably about, I would say, 24 inches by, 8 foot long. The platform.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Let me. We'll probably, if there's any other questions, feel free to ask now. But otherwise, we'll probably. Is there anything else that you and Burl wanted to mention here before we go, or are we pretty well good?
I'll let Burl close off, but I would like to say, hey, if you're interested in looking at a CNC machine and you're kind of on the fence for a variety of reasons and everything, absolutely reach out to us, sales@digitalwoodcarver.com, or toll free 833-392-2621. And the digitalwoodcarver.com, the phone number's on our website as well. But I'm happy to answer any questions and everything that because there's a lot of CNCs out there on the market, right? And there's a lot of software and a lot of things to kind of wrap your head around. We'd love to provide you the business at Digital Woodcarver. We make a solid project. We support. We are unmatched, unrivaled in our support on CNCs. Knock on wood. So I'm proud of that. So definitely give us some consideration. We'd love to work with you, and we'd love to meet your CNC needs for sure. Check out digitalwoodcarver.com, stockroomsupplies.com as well, and let's reach out anytime you want. I've got to say, I just come work with us. We'd love to work with you.
That's awesome. Thanks, Laney. And then Burl, I think you wanted to mention something.
Well, really just kind of wrap up. I think we're wrapping up here. We appreciate Ethan working with you and your mom and your sister. And I wanted to point out that you guys have supported us up in Canada. And we, anytime, whenever, if you call us, like Laney was saying, for support and stuff, obviously, to purchase, we go through you pretty, 100% when it comes to that. So we appreciate that and appreciate our customers above the border. And anytime we can help, I think it's been a really good relationship with that. So don't, just because we're down in the States, you should get that same service that's up there. And I just wanted to point that out that, we stand behind our product, whether it's sold directly here in the States or through Stockroom. And certainly if there's new products that we have, I know you guys got some for commercial units up there and maybe some more. So, you do sell, you're capable of selling any of our product, whether you do or not. That's, what fits your market, what your customers are needing. So we appreciate everybody coming out today. And from Digital Wood Carver, we certainly want to say thank you and good to see you guys again. And if you have any questions, just let us know.
Thanks so much, Burl. So yeah, again, thanks everybody that joined the live today. This will be posted as a regular YouTube video after the fact here, and I will make sure in that YouTube description I will put the links to Digital Woodcarver's website and our website and Spindle TV, so those are easy to find. So yeah, thanks again. So I'll just figure out here how to end the live. And
we'll just keep waving until you leave.
Just keep waving until I figure it out. Yeah, it'll. Okay, here we go. Okay, here's the button. All right, see you guys later. Thanks for coming today.
See you guys. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Okay, live.